Hello and welcome back. My name is V, and today I'd like to talk about something that is really important to me that didn't used to be important to me at all in all of my 5 or 6 years of content creation so far. Today I'd like to talk about Persona games in general, at least the Persona games that I've played so far, and what kind of impact they have on me as a person and as a content creator. Now, first of all, I'm not going to talk about the games themselves. When it comes to spoilers, when it comes to the lore or anything of the sort, I'm going to avoid that. So if you haven't played Persona and you're just clicking on this video because you're curious about what I'm gonna say when it comes to this, don't worry about it. The game will not be spoiled to you. Also, I have not played all of the Persona games yet, which I think is to be expected as someone who's discovered Persona as a franchise quite recently. There has just been no time. I did play some of them. This year I started to play Persona 3 Reload, finished it. Currently I'm playing Persona 4 Golden and waiting for the Persona 3 DLC The Answer. And I already have Persona 5, but I haven't been able to start it yet because I decided to play Persona 4 before I start with 5. If you happen to be new to the channel and you're into Persona or RPGs, JRPGs in general, make sure to press that sub button because you'll love it here. Now, when it comes to Persona in general, one of the most important things for me is the community that revolves around it, especially as a content creator. Regardless of what kind of game you're playing, you really want to foster a very healthy community of people who vibe well with each other, who are interested in the things that matter to you as well, and overall who create good atmosphere in your streams, in your Discord, and so on. So from the content creator's perspective, I have to say that Persona has given me the greatest gift a content creator can get, which is the community. I had no idea that Persona community is so welcoming, so loyal, and so nice when it comes to pretty much everything. As a Final Fantasy fan, I've faced an amount of struggles when I used to play Final Fantasy games only on stream, and those include a lot of backseating, some spoilers, and overall very heated arguments in chat over, which Final Fantasy game is better, which character is better, which theory on what happened in the ending is correct, and whatnot. And with Persona, I just haven't been experiencing that. I've experienced a group of super chill people who tune into streams to actually see these genuine reactions, who want to talk about the game in a non-spoilery way, who even refrain from telling me about the boss's elemental weaknesses and resistances. And my chat already knows that that's something that I do consider a spoiler, as I like to discover these things on my own. Also, I've discovered how much passion there is in my community for Persona in general through my Discord, where people always share new videos, new reactions, new funny clips, and news about the game and everything. And it's just really helped us create this lively, thriving community of people who just love Persona. And I'm just so grateful because at the end of the day, I feel like Persona as a franchise has given me friends too. Now, when it comes to the game itself, this is probably the only section in which I'm going to talk about the game, but I'm not going to go into any spoilers, any information about social links or the characters or anything. I would just like to point out that Persona is one of the most relatable experiences as a human being that you can encounter in a JRPG. And this sounds a little strange at first because if you know it at least a little bit about Persona, you know that these games have their setting in a high school setting. And let's agree that a lot of the JRPG players right now are quite old, and I say this very boldly because I'm one of them, and I don't quite consider myself to be too young. And I think that there are very, very few Persona players, if any, right now who are playing Persona and who are in high school and who get to experience this relatability of high school life. Persona is very deceptively teenage when it comes to its experiences. What I mean by that is that it is technically in a high school setting, but the stories that you discover, the themes of the games, they are just not themes for kids. And even the way the game is written, it really lets you know that a child should probably not be playing these games, which is sometimes very strange because sometimes in Persona there are themes that are considered a little bit lewd, a little bit strange in a way that they're dancing on this around this line of whether or not you feel awkward when you play it as a little bit of an older person, knowing that, for example, you're seeing young people in swimsuits and they're commenting on each other's bodies, or they're even touching each other or whatever. So from that point of view, the game is not as relatable, but the stories themselves are actually human. The games touch on topics that I so far have not experienced in any other game. And even if I did, there are certain indie games who tackle some of the topics like depression or anxiety or divorce or this or that. But Persona games are just a compendium, no pun intended, of these topics that are all compiled in one game. And if you are at least somewhat emotionally available as a person, you are going to feel things that you didn't even think that you would feel. You will feel emotions from some of the things that have happened to you a long time ago. And you will be reminded of how painful some of these things are. You will be reminded of how stressful some of these events are. Some things will really hurt you. Some things will really make you happy because they will remind you of your own experiences, as the game talks about actually real things. Therefore, in a strange way, Persona series, not just a game, not just P3 or P4, whatever, has really helped me heal from some of my own experiences as well. After experiencing the initial pain and even shock that they're even talking about these things, it made me feel less alone when it comes to a lot of things that have happened to me, because I saw the proof of someone else actually thinking about it, of someone else actually having this issue or knowing about this issue and putting it into a game for people to experience. So in that way, the games have really provided me with healing and with self-reflection, and I've been able to get some sort of closure on things that I never thought that I would get closure on. I'm not saying that I'm the kind of person who puts everything under the carpet, but there are some things in my life that I just didn't know how exactly I would deal with them. And playing through these stories has helped me find some ways to get over things, to see them in a different way, and to, in a very strange way, to get advice from a video game as it tackles these super important topics that other games just don't. Now, again, from a content creator's point of view, obviously, I'm going to talk about it as a content creator, but when it comes to my channels, my streams, and all of my types of content in general, I have to say I am very grateful for Persona games, as this year my channels have experienced growth that they have not experienced before. And all of this started with Persona 3 Reload and playing it for the first time. So me playing Persona 3 Reload was not a planned thing. It was just something that kept popping up on my Twitter sometime before the game's release, and around that time I was actually quite busy with covering some of the other releases, with trying to figure out what my year as a content creator is going to look like. And I have to say that Persona 3 Reload marketing was very good, because it was popping up all over my social media so much that it actually became distracting. And I didn't know anything about the game. I didn't know what reload means. I didn't know that that's actually a remaster of the original Persona 3 game. And I knew at some point that I will start playing Persona 3 or Persona in general, but I could never find the right time. Funnily enough, a month or two before I even started Persona 3 Reload, I got Persona 5. So my idea was to start with Persona 5, and to be honest with you, I'm glad I didn't, because I think as a content creator and even as a person, I was not fully ready for that experience, and I feel quite ready now. But when it comes to 3, I started digging into it a little bit and doing some research, and I realized just how much hype there is over this game. So I decided to give it a shot, and this is another thing that I'm very grateful for, so I will take this opportunity to just tell you the story. I remember that Atlus had a tweet or some sort of a post about content creators applying for Persona 3 Reload keys, and up until that point I didn't have any relationship with Atlus or with Sega whatsoever. And if you know me from before, you know how much I gush about Sega as my basically first console that I've ever played and my first experience with gaming in general. Sega will always be something that's really special for me, and I saw that relationship as something like a bucket list item, and I didn't think that I was ready for that kind of relationship. But I was offered a key by Atlus, by Sega, for Persona 3 Reload, and in a strange way it was a dream come true, because at that point when that happened, I really wished that I could really go back in time and just hug that little girl who was 5 or 6 years old with her first Sega console, you know, playing those, whatever they're called, 356 games on a little cartridge, and to tell her that things are going to be fine, that she's going to continue loving gaming, that one day she's going to have a relationship with this Sega that's popping up on her, you know, old TV screen, that things are going to be fine. And it was a very, very emotional moment for me that actually makes me tear up a little bit when I think about it. And it is one of the relationships with companies that I hold very dear. As we continued to have this relationship, I've been continued to be offered, different opportunities and different things, and I'm just very, very grateful for that. Little did I know is that when I started playing Persona games in general, that it's going to give me somewhat of a new identity as a content creator as well. A part of that reason is probably because the games are so long, and it is simply impossible to get yourself into a Persona game, commit to finishing it, and not acquire at least a little bit of identity through it. Of course, if you really do enjoy the game. So throughout my gameplays, there have been many things that shaped both myself and our community in general. Those things include things like inside jokes, even some emotes on my channels that were inspired by these inside jokes, the community that suggested some of the commands, the things that I would say whenever something happens in the game. It's just a very surreal experience, and I'm glad that I actually let Persona literally into my heart because it allowed me to accept these things, to get inspired by them, and to help my community enjoy my gameplay so much more as well. And last but not least, Persona has allowed me to re-experience something that I never thought I would lose for a time as a gaming content creator, and that is actual passion for gaming. This sounds very strange at first, but when you think about it, if you treat gaming content creation as a job, if you're running a Twitch channel and 2 YouTube channels, and if you, at the end of the day, have to worry about things like releases, time frames, when you're gonna finish the game, if you're gonna be engaging enough, how the experience is going to be for your viewers, sometimes your gameplay and your enjoyment doesn't really come first, which is a real shame. And something that I don't wish upon anyone, yet any content creator who, especially content creators who do decide to do this full time, is just something that they end up experiencing. And unfortunately, I've experienced something similar as well, especially while noticing that some things perform better than others. And at the end of the day, that I have to also think about what my audience wants and not just what I want. Persona is one of those experiences that really connected what I want with what my audience wants. And it really allowed me to feel the passion for gaming again and to actually enjoy my gameplays, not just playing through the story, but playing through the dungeons as well, and just having a lot of fun in the game. And I'm also not the kind of person who typically goes for hard or ultra hard playthroughs or whatever. But when it comes to Persona, even Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance that I recently played here on the channel, I allowed myself to feel challenge, and I'm actually welcoming challenge this time around when it comes to Persona, partially probably because I understand it well and because I'm mentally invested into the combat to the point that I feel like the normal combat is a bit too easy for me at this point without trying to sound arrogant or anything like that. But I actually feel like gameplay does come first for me as well, and this makes me really happy because the games are very long, and since I am committed to playing them on stream, I am sorry, but I do want to enjoy them as well. And if I didn't enjoy the gameplay, or if I felt like I was doing this just for the sake of views or for my audience or whatever, I would not be enjoying content creation anymore, just because of how freakishly long these games are. The only thing left for me to say is thank you. Thank you to my community for connecting me to this franchise in a way, suggesting the games and kind of helping me decide which one I'm going to play after Persona 3, how the order of the game goes, and what I could be doing after I'm done with Persona 3 Reload, with Persona 4 and whatnot. I also have to say thank you to Atlus for providing me with this opportunity in the first place, because at the end of the day, a fun fact about my Persona 3 Reload experience is that that game came out during a time when I had no job, no income, my channels were not doing that great, and I was struggling a little bit, and I don't think that I would have been there for the Persona 3 Reload launch day, which turned out to be probably one of the best streaming days in that month that I had, and I still remember it. Being there on time for this game and showing investment with this game in front of my community has really helped me. And in case you're ever wondering if you should invest into a franchise that you're passionate about, that you think will do well on your channels, is probably a good investment if you can make it. I didn't know whether Persona 3 Reload is going to be good for my channel or not, so I have to say I don't know if I was fully ready to invest at that point, which is why I'm very, very grateful to Atlus for giving me this chance, and I think that they did well at the end of the day, because they gained a huge Persona fan. I am very, very invested into the games. I will continue to play them, to promote them, regardless of whether I'm getting the games or buying the games. I still love this, and I will continue to make content on Persona. So I'm hoping that as a content creator, I did do the franchise some justice, and like I said, I'm going to continue to be here with Persona content, and I really do hope that you enjoy it with me as well. If you happen to be new here on the channel, and if you're a little bit of a Persona fan and you don't know me yet, make sure to subscribe, because like I said, I'm here to stay. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about the franchise in general, whether you find any of the things that I said even slightly relatable, how you feel about the games, and all that good stuff. Thank you again, have a nice day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.